All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, January 25th, 2023. If you're not done so already, give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, a very interesting day here for the markets. So gap down this morning and a pretty good sell into the first hour or so of the day, right around the 10:30, 10:40 time frame. And then we had a nice V shape. Again, very interesting price action. So yesterday, Microsoft reported, obviously, and after the bell, they were up nicely, went right up to about 250, and then it rolled over and opened all the way down around 233, 234, had a little dip, filled this gap here, and then rallied right back up. It does look like puts are a little overzealous here at this point, at least for right now. I think this, like I said yesterday, I think the market probably holds up into FOMC, maybe even trades up a little bit more. And one of the kind of tip-offs to that is the VIX here this morning. The VIX was up almost, I think, 8% at one point on the day. Let's take a look at the intraday here. And you can see, look at that big surge there. So with the markets really not down that much, I mean, yes, they gapped down pretty, substantially. But it's not like there was, it's not like it was a massive, flush or anything or any news. It was really just kind of Microsoft rolling over, so it created some bearish sentiment. Saw a lot of put buying here, and I just thought it was interesting that the VIX was up that much. Either way, market had a nice recovery here, and all things considered, we finished green, so that's always good when you can gap down and close green. But basically, like if you just discount the outside move earlier, we had an inside day by the close. So nothing's really changed here. You just have an up move and technically inside bar for Monday. So market's holding up okay. The futures here, take a look at the tail candle on the ES. That's a massive tail candle there, going and back testing the 200 moving average as well as this down sloping trend line. So we are, you could make a case we've back tested that now. So that should be support here moving forward. So that does give the bulls a little bit more of a bias here going into next week. Again, I don't expect there to be a ton more upside, specifically more in the times kind of factor here. I do think FOMC, it's starting to feel a lot like it was in December, where we got those big bids off of Powell talking and then we faded. The more we're up, like I keep saying, the more we're up into that, the more likely it's going to be a sell the news. Now, you might want to say, again, everybody's going to talk about it. What about this trend line? What about the trend line? Again, the trend line's not the be-all, end-all. In fact, I can show you several examples here. By the way, right here, the triple Qs, look where we went on Monday. So that was that old channel that we had. I just extended it out, and that was the resistance there. But just to show you a few examples here, if we go back to earlier this year, this was a trend line from all-time highs, right? Oh, we got above that, right? So that means bear market over, right? It's over with. Obviously, that wasn't the case. What about this falling wedge pattern right here? Right, so we broke out of that. All-time highs, right? Because it's over. We broke above the trend line, so that's the be-all, end-all, correct? Obviously not. So that doesn't always mean that just because you get above a trend line, that's the end of it. And the triple Qs right now still, which I think are the most important indices right now, they're still below that trend line, but they're holding up well, and I can't say anything bad about it. When you have a test candle like that, we came down here, even got below Friday's close here, and we rallied off of it. And yeah, the close down 22 basis points, nothing terrible there. As we can see, the semiconductors, as we always follow very closely, they held up well actually up 10 basis points today. And again, up move, and you're still inside of that. So nothing terrible here with the markets right now. Let's take a look at Tesla here. Sorry guys, I wanted to live stream this, but I'm just so really busy right now with the move and everything. It doesn't look like Tesla's earnings are out quite yet. Let's take a look here on the the after hours. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything just yet. We'll come back to that in a little bit here. I'm very interested to see what Tesla does in the earnings, because you've had we went from 300 down to 100, so like a 66% decline in the last 4 months of the year. And now on the flip side, we're actually up 45%, or just under 45%, 102 to 144. in like 3 weeks. So on one hand, you could say, well, it's down a lot into earnings, so it should, expectations are lowered. It should get a bid. On the other hand, we're up almost 50% ahead of earnings as well. So it's kind of a crapshoot here. Again, I have no idea what it's going to do. We'll take a look at that later. But yeah, very interested to see that. So semiconductors, again, still holding up well. Looking for about 245, maybe 250 on this. There's nothing wrong with it at the moment. IGV, same thing. Up move here. Still finished inside of Monday's bar, so nothing terrible there. Again, we thought that 200 moving average was going to be resistance. I still think it can get through that. It's more minor here than anything. The bigger level here is up at that double top, but if it consolidates a little bit more, it can get through that a little bit. And then there's kind of a gap window up in this area, and then a gap fill. I don't think we get all the way up there, but that would be kind of your max move to the upside. Now, the transports. Here is a little bit of a red flag. So you guys know I've been on this quite a bit lately, and for good reason, right? So they've been a very good leading indicator, and they historically are. So what's the difference here? High, lower high. Transports red today. They did finish off the lows. Everything. There's the Russell 2000. You can see had a nice V shape. Spiders V shape. Qs V shape. Transports V shape, but it rolled over, right? This is a little bit of a problem. So we want to see the transports leading to the upside. And that is not the case here. So we have lower highs on the DJT, higher highs on the spiders, higher highs on the triple Qs. That is a divergence. So that's something we got to pay attention to. CSX reported today. That was down 2.5%, which is a big move for CSX. They did save. It did just barely. Let's take a look here. 31.11. Oh, so that didn't. I take that back. You actually closed below this green bar low here on CSX. So that's a failed inside bar on CSX there. Also, take a look at Norfolk Southern, another rail stock that reported today. That broke this trend line here. And you can make a case. I mean, it's a little sloppy, but you can make a case that's a head and shoulder. So there's your left shoulder head. It's a little bit of a thinner head, but thin. And then right shoulder, close below that green bar low there with volume. So the rails coming under a little bit of pressure here. That's not going to be good. Norfolk Southern down 5%. So again, watch the transports here. They've been a good leading indicator this year. Remember, they bottomed first last year, and they topped out first last year as well. So we're watching for that as well. And they gave us that sell signal. Not necessarily a sell signal, but a sign of weakness here with that inside bar break and close below a few weeks ago. So again, we're still expecting lower highs here, or if it does make a higher high, it'll be very brief. That is at least what the charts indicate for now. Taking a look at Tesla here. Not sure if they're out just yet. It is trading up a little bit. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So Tesla getting a bid. 148 now. So that's going to be 50 moving average is 152. Let's see if it goes up and touches that. That'll be interesting. Should be able to get up there. It's not that far away. I have no idea what the earnings are. Obviously, I'm just doing this like on the spot here. Yeah, 150 there. So Tesla getting a bid. Let's look at the NQ. NQ getting a nice bid as well. So yeah, NQ now flat at 11,900. All right, so Tesla getting a positive reaction, at least on the knee-jerk here. It'll be interesting to see what Elon Musk says. We'll take a look at that later here. But again, spend a lot of time on the transports. They are important there, though, as we all know. We did mention the Russell briefly. That is still showing a little bit of leadership, actually up 26 basis points on the day, whereas the spiders are only up 5. So that's a decent sign of strength here in the near term. Dow, I still think can get to 345. At least that's kind of like the max move here, possibly in the next week or so. Okay. We did semis, we did everything else. Let's look at the 10-year. So TNX, again, a little bit of a nothing burger. Yields have been just kind of in backing and filling mode here. Down 20 basis points, nothing crazy. TYX basically flat on the day. Again, you still have slight higher highs here. Nothing's changed though. This gap would be major support if you were to break down into that area, right around that 3.2 area. But for right now, TYX is holding up, although it has been all over the map lately. And then the 2-year did finish up a little bit here again. Still looking for that. That will be your max upside target there, that inverse head and shoulders there. So again, yields have been kind of quiet here. You get the sense of the market and the bond market, stock market and the bond market have been waiting on, or are waiting on the FOMC next week. All right. Anyways, XHB, decent day here. Slight upside. Well, up 41 basis points. Nothing terrible here. Again, lower highs. So that is switching to underperform here. Same thing with ITB and VNQ. Again, lower highs versus higher highs. Although there's nothing technically wrong with this pattern, they can move a little bit higher, if the market continues to get a bid. XLF had a nice reversal. Take a look at the intraday here. This was actually outperforming this morning. Flip on the regular time there. But you see the gap down here, and this never made lower lows, so this was actually outperforming in the morning. And so that gave you, a little bit of a signal that it was going to hold up here. And then as we V-shaped, this finished up 0.75% here, whereas the market was basically flat. So XLF showing a little bit of strength. I do have a max move done on this. It's not much higher. So we'll take that for what it's worth. But again, still, this is not taken out the recent high either. So again, lower highs there in general, but today it was stronger, so we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. XBD, nice move, outside move up 1.18%. So it looks like it wants to get to that 490 level after all, maybe even up to 492, maybe touch that pivot there. But XBD up as well. Crude here, again, not doing a whole lot, really just a nothing burger again and again on crude. It's been stuck in a range here since really the middle of November, and even since before that. I mean, you could make a case like really since September and even August. I mean, yes, we are making lower lows, but we're basically back to where we were in, the beginning of September, essentially. So been very range bound. Again, weekly time frame still inside bar. So that does have a downside bias for now. XLE gapped down and then had another V shape like everything else, finishing up just 1 penny again, holding above all four major moving averages. Same with XOP and OIH. OIH with a big move here. I think this does want to get up to 350. After all, I still think eventually it's going to go back test 250, but I wouldn't chase it up here. It's holding up really well, up 2.5%. Still inside of this big red bar though, but a nice reaction off that 20 moving average after testing it yesterday. So you see that nice little tail candle there and a big bid today. So OIH holding up much better. Nat gas continues to be unable to get out of its own way, down to $3 now. I think this is probably going to 290, and then I think after the contract rollover, that's when this thing gets a bid here. But still, just under a ton of pressure here. There is a cold front coming in. I'm not sure that has anything to do with it. To me, this seems more mechanical than anything. I know that this winter has been a little bit milder, and I don't think that has a lot to do with it right now either. I know inventories are higher than expected. We do have inventories tomorrow, so maybe it gets a bid. Who knows here, but nat gas continuing to be under pressure here. Basically at that 3 handle. I do think it gets a little bit lower, and then I think we're very close to a floor here. Anyways, dollar index down 25 basis points. Again, you guys know my thoughts there. We're trying to put in a bottom. Gold just continues to hammer up 57 basis points currently, and it's heading into this red bar here. Again, I still think gold is very long in the tooth. Do not open fresh longs here. If you are long, trail your stop, please. But going up into lots of resistance up here at that 1950, 1965 area. But gold holding up well, and we got to respect it. GDX, maybe that can get to 33.50, 34. There is a gap right up in this area. I think that's about max move for now. Silver, nice reaction off the 50 moving average, and it continues to just be in this range here. I think SILJ and SIL have one more little push here. I think about maybe 32.50 for SIL. SILJ, that can get, maybe a pierce of $12. And that's really just based off of this inverse head and shoulders that I put in a while ago. So I've been looking for this pattern to play out quite a while. And it's almost there now. That target's right around 12. You got the pivot high right there, red bar above that. So those are going to be your levels to look on SILJ, but holding up nice and had a nice bid today, up 2.43%. Another thing to be on guard for too is I don't like the fact that gold is up this much ahead of the FOMC next week. Essentially, you're pulling any gains forward, and basically, this is basically pricing in like a Fed pivot, essentially. Like, those are my words, not the market. I'm just saying, like, essentially that's kind of the look that it's giving, and we're not going to get one. So I just want everybody to be clear on that. And by the way, look at bonds right now, right? So the 30-year, it's up, it's off the lows, but you haven't even closed above the December high. And you look at gold's way above the December high here. So you see what I mean when I say it's long in the tooth here? And it's basically pricing in the most dovish Fed ever. So just be aware of that. That's kind of my thesis there. But again, gold's holding up. Can't take anything away from it. Platinum, a little bit of a reversal there. That might want to go back down and test 1,000. But for right now, it's safe. It's still holding the 50 moving average. Copper, I think, is in a topping process here. Nice topping tail there. And I think this is in the process of rolling over. But yeah, it's holding up for now. So we'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now. Lastly, Bitcoin. Again, no real change here. Again, same thing. Whoops. There we go. Bitcoin, so no real change. Again, still just inside bar. Nothing wrong with it. Upside bias at 25,000. Nothing has really changed there. It's holding up well. Yeah, outside of that, let's go take one more look at Tesla here. Right back to 145. Okay, let's take a look. And again, remember, Tesla's market cap has taken such a while. They reversed that all the way right back down. But Tesla's market cap has taken such a hit in the last year that it's really not. It's not the company. It was like $1 trillion company at one point. So this weighting not having as much to do with it, or not as much pull on the Nasdaq, or especially not the S&P. But interesting little fade there. Might just be a nothing burger. So we'll see what we get here. Again, I don't expect a whole lot of action. We got Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. The earnings are pretty quiet those days for the most part. Then Wednesday we got Meta, and of course the FOMC. That's going to be the big one. And then after that, the kicker: Amazon, Google, Apple on Thursday, all after the bell. So I don't think the market does a whole lot here. If it does trade up for some reason and we continue squeezing, I would be very cautious as a long going into the FOMC and going into those earnings for the same reasons I just talked about as far as gold being overbought, because you're basically pulling the gains forward and pricing things in. So anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me at carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.